GCUC is a global co-working and conference community. We've had our fingers on the pulse of co-working since 2012, and we've connected thousands of operators, both in person and online. On the GCUC Podcast, we talk with the people making it happen day in and day out. Let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the GCUC Podcast, where we deep dive into people's trends and ideas shaping the future of work. I am Liz Elam, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by two incredible guests, Giles and Niki Fuchs, the dynamic sibling duo behind Office Space in Town, one of London's most distinctive flexible workspace brand, and owners of the iconic Burgh Island Hotel, a luxurious Art Deco retreat off the Devon coast. Giles and Niki have not only built a thriving co-working empire, but also bold design and hospitality-first approach. But they've also mastered the art of creating unforgettable guest experiences at Burgh Island, blending elegance, history, and world-class service. Today, we're unpacking how the lessons learned from running a luxury hotel translate to delivering exceptional experiences in the co-working and flex office world. We'll explore how the balanced scaling of competitive business in London's crowded market, what it takes to maintain a premium service standard and flexible workspace, and the predictions of how hospitality and co-working will continue to intersect as the future evolves. So buckle up. The conversation's going to be packed and we're going to laugh a lot. Okay. How the hell are y'all?
That's a brilliant introduction. Could you write that down? I'm going to use it in my bio, Liz.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it to you. AI wrote most of it.
My elevator pitch.
I'm sitting here speechless, listening to it. What's she talking about?
Yeah. It was all right, actually. I'm glad
I know.
Liz.
Huh?
I'm going to add some more detail for that.
No, but really, I want to know, how are you doing as humans? And I'm going to go with you first, Giles. How are you? Like, just literally as a human, how are you doing?
I'm a little overweight. I'm a bit too old, but I'm healthy, Liz.
Excellent.
I'm very lucky. I was born with a very positive attitude to life. And where others see drama and crisis, I just see opportunity. So I live a charmed life. I choose a universe to live in, Liz, and that's the one I frequent.
I was recently watching an author at South by Southwest, and she said the number one secret to a happy longevity is your attitude.
Yeah, must be true, mustn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very lucky that I can do kind of broad brush thinking while letting Niki do the detail, because I'm not very good at detail, but I'm very good at broad brush.
And I can't do brush.
Yeah, well, that's why Stormy and I work together so well, because I can't do details. I am like, what about this? And she's like, absolutely not. 90% of the things I say, 90%.
Well, it's an interesting thing that we found out about Niki the other day. Who's Batman, who's Robin, not sure. But we found out Niki doesn't have an internal voice.
What?
Yes. So whereas my brain is talking to me all the time, don't say that, don't say that.
24/7. I'd love to turn it off.
Yeah. She doesn't have that.
I mean, I'm not one of those weird people that has nothing, but my internal voice is silent. So, when you're talking to somebody, you're like thinking of the next question, thinking the process. I'm repeating in my head what they're saying to me.
Wow. That is like mind-blowing for me.
Which is, and me. Which is, of course, why she's so good at detail, because she writes everything.
Right. She's paying attention, Giles.
What's your name? No, she's... Right?
Well, the two of us are like, what brilliant thing am I going to say next?
Oh, Liz, you're in my head, aren't you? It's all natural, unfiltered from Niki.
Amazing. I love that. That's fascinating. Okay, so Niki, how are you as a human? You look fabulous.
Well, thank you. As do you, my heroine. I love you so much. I'm doing really well. I am trying to traverse my life into Giles's universe.
And good, smart.
World is always better when my universe is backing onto his with an open door. My family are healthy. My husband's good. My son is brilliant. Giles and I obviously work together, which gives me, we've got challenges and stuff, but it's actually meant is that him and I are spending so much more time together, which,
Yeah.
although we don't actually get to speak that much more, it's just lovely being in the same space as him and his beautiful partner, Vic. So family's good. Our mother is in a retirement village living her best life. So I'm good, and I'm getting healthy, and I'm getting fit slowly, not as quickly as I should. So no, I'm good. And I have, obviously, you can't go without saying, the incredible team at OSiT, led by Sarah and Georgia, who are doing the most incredible job.
Love it.
And the incredible team at Burgh as well.
Yes. And
Because
because
we have 75 people in the down season on the island, and in the up season up to 95.
Wow. You know what? Let's just get right into Burgh Island, because I don't know if everybody realizes that you guys bought a hotel, or Giles, you did. I don't know. Did you guys buy it together? Or did
Yeah, we do everything together. So
perfect.
everything.
Yeah, that would be creepy. That'd be a little White Lotus moment.
Clayton Town has sort of turned into our sort of family office, if you like. So everything is held. It's almost like a holdco, really, and everything is off that as a company. So yeah, all our money is lumped together, all our investments are lumped together, and that's where it should be. So no one's running off with the family silver.
Nice. Okay, so Burgh Island is this absolutely amazing treasure. So tell us a little bit about how you came to get this incredible jewel.
Right, bonkers. I notoriously or famously didn't do very well in my, I don't know what you call them, but higher certificates, you call them probably, but A-levels in England. I probably had a bit too much fun. So I ended up with just the lowest grade possible in one of the 3 subjects I took at E.
Perfect.
My father was really, really angry. And so on the back of that, come the time of year, which is August in the UK, where they release the grades to the A-level students. They asked me, the BBC asked me to come in and give a little talk about, or to say, it doesn't matter, kids, if you don't get your A-levels, you still can have a great life and be successful. So that's what happened. On the back of that, I had a phone call from a chap who asked me for a coffee. I always say yes, where possible. And he showed me a picture of Burgh Island. And, well, to our shame, actually, we'd never heard of it. It's an island in Devon in England. I mean, there can't be that many of them. So he then said proudly he was buying it. I now know he was really in.
Yeah.
A week later said, do you want to buy it?
A salesman can always sell to a salesman.
I'm so easy to sell to.
I literally just paid somebody way too much money to do some yard work because I so respected their game.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
So on the back of that, he said, do you want to buy it? And I said yes. I mean, there and then. And then Nikki and I, you can see behind us, we're in the ballroom. So it's a place. We're not precise. Amazing place. It's one of 2 people in the places in the world where in the ballroom you have to wear black tie for dinner.
I love that.
Live
dresses,
music.
gloves, jewelry, long black tassels.
Amazing.
Tiara is de rigueur. Anyway, Nikki and I came and mystery shopped it. It was running at about 50% occupancy. It was a bit down at heel.
That was in 2018, wasn't it?
17. We came and we bought it.
Amazing.
Serviced offices, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
How hard can it be?
Yeah, not like serviced offices.
Wow. Yeah. So what's been the key learning that you're applying to office space in town?
Well, I think if I'm going, nothing against the hospitality industry, but I think we have taken our learnings from office space in town and brought them here.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's all about the guest experience in terms of the day-to-day. It's all about that. It's all about your recruitment process. It's all about the people that you hire, the morals, their values. That's no different. It's about managing your cash flow. That's no different. It's about timely accounts. It's about controls. It's about all the feedback loops, ensuring your guest reviews, same as we do with our clients, meet them face to face. So all of those learnings, it's about the environment and knowing why your guests, clients are coming to you. Why have they chosen to come to you? So at Burgh, they come here because it's iconic, because they love Art Deco, because they're Agatha Christie fans, because they want the serenity, because somebody's recommended it. And so why wouldn't you go somewhere where that's been recommended? Or they got engaged here, or they had an anniversary here. So we have I want to say, above 65% return rate of our guests.
Wow.
Highest anybody's ever heard of.
I'm going to let you get away with that. It's not quite, it's a bit low.
Is it a bit low?
It's about 50%.
It's about, okay. I didn't mean to over-egg that. And so that's the same in office space in town. Why do our clients want to come to us? Knowing that is essential for finding new clients and essential for retaining the clients we do have.
Yeah.
I missed anything.
No, done. We're finished.
Love it.
Actually, Liz, if I can backfill just a little bit, because
Please.
a lot of your people listening to this podcast won't know. So our hotel was built on a 27-acre island, had a lot of history before that, but it was built by a film producer from London called Archie Nettlefold. And Archie Nettlefold firstly built his house here. It was a house. His mates were Agatha Christie, Noel Coward, all that lot. And they came and they stayed and they didn't leave. So he turned into a hotel, started charging them and turned into a hotel. So it still retains, we have, I think, the largest collection of Art Deco antiques and artifacts in the country. Agatha Christie wrote at least 2 of her books here in our beach house. She was a great surfer, and Bantham Beach opposite is a great surf beach.
She's an incredible woman. She's not just a writer, but a woman in her own right. You should read up about her. She was absolutely incredible as a leader of women.
Yeah, I love that.
Bizarrely, though, she didn't drink. No.
Well, I don't either, Giles. So.
She didn't you don't drink?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I used to, but I had to stop.
Well, that's why you look so great, Liz.
Oh,
no, that's probably it.
There's no TVs on the island.
Great. Love that. Do you take their phones?
Well, they have Wi-Fi, and if it's stormy, then they don't get signal. And they can't get off the island at high tide and in high winds when the tractor doesn't work. So they're stuck here and they just have to be serene.
Yeah, and have more champagne.
I love that. I was actually at a Soho house yesterday having not the best experience, having to chase down the waiter all the time. And the food was good. The experience, not so much. And it was funny. I was talking to a song producer here in Austin, and he said, what do you think happened here? And I said, well, I think what happened was they're not training their people right anymore, because if people care about it and people are paying attention, this would never happen. And what I have found is it is all about the people you hire. That is the linchpin of all hospitality. And I'm curious if you two hospitality experts agree.
Yeah, it is all about, like office space in town. Where you may or may know, you've met Georgia Sandham, our MD.
Of course.
And she came to us at the age of 21 as a receptionist. And we've taken her over the last 14 years or so. And she's now our MD. So we have a huge number in office space town of people who've been with us a long, long time. And it is true to say there are people on the island who've been here way before us, 17 years, particularly a family and some friends of theirs. But you asked about hospitality and differences. The longevity of staff in hospitality appears to be much shorter. So we're trying to reverse that. And we've brought looking after staff, which we learned in OSiT. Well, we've always known as a family.
Yeah.
But we've brought that understanding of looking after your staff and treating them like you'd like to be treated. And
right.
Treat them like they treat you. Have to work that. So we brought, I think that's the big thing that we brought here is the respect from the top down. It is happening, that we get it from the bottom up.
Yeah, but it is a lot harder in hospitality. Recruitment in the industry is really tough.
Yeah. How do you recruit on an island? I'm curious.
Well, it is really difficult. Giles arranged for us to buy an ex-care home on the mainland, which has been changed into staff accommodation, which is lovely. But even so, we're so isolated. Lots of young people don't drive. It's great if you love the outdoors, but hospitality also generally attracts those people that want to perhaps step a little out of society. So there's a lot here that gives us huge challenges, which we're trying to lean into, and it takes time to change that culture and to get the right people on board, and then be able to hold on to them long enough to make sure that their journey is the best journey we can give them. So we're in it. We're in the process of that change.
What we found over our years in business is that it's better to run a bit shorter staff if they're not the right staff. And I think as a temptation in hospitality, it appears, because we're not hospitality experts, to take someone on to fill the gap. So we've learned at OSiT that doesn't work, just filling because they have person. So we are taking our time filling the gap. And I think the thing is that the people we're now encouraged to come here and keeping are the right people. And I think, and we're already getting a long stay long stays of staff.
And so I see you two are very close. What has been the best part and the worst part about working with your sibling?
The best part is being together. Is knowing that you're going to sit, for me, knowing that I'm going to see him all the time. The fact that I don't need to worry about what he's doing. I trust him implicitly. I know that whatever he does is in our best interest. And, even if, not that he doesn't know how to do anything, even if he didn't know how to do it, he would do his best. So for me, that feeling of security and comfort it's not overwhelming, but it covered my entire being, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd say not having to worry about the trust element in your
that's got to be amazing.
It is fantastic because in business people do fall out. I know families fall out, but we've known each other all our lives, would you believe?
Navigated the tough bit really early on.
We did.
It was really, really tough at about when it was City. So right at the beginning, it was tough when we were about 10 or 11.
Our mother put us in separate rooms when we were young.
Talking to each other for a whole term.
Yeah, that did it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to talk to each other. And bear in mind, we were both at boarding school, so it was quite tough when we came home for weekends and half term. And
exaggerating a bit.
And then early doors, when I was first running city exec, and I didn't know a lot. I was young. I was immature. I wasn't the nicest person. I was a bit passive aggressive. And Giles came on board and was trying to help me, and I alienated him. So that we had a tough period of time for 2 years. And then I think after that, the really tough bit is when you do have to have a tough conversation. Not that you necessarily disagree, or that it's not that the trust has gone, but it's difficult broaching difficult conversations when you care so much about how the other one's going to receive it.
Yeah.
But still have to step into it. And that goes for every relationship. So it's crucial conversations are so difficult. And when the stakes are so high with your sibling, that you have to really steel yourself to do it. But it's always the right thing to do. And you as a sibling, when you're at the receiving end of those crucial conversations, you have to really sit on your emotions and listen to what they're saying, not let your emotions react. But we've learned to give each other space and time, haven't we?
We were also, our parents, our mother, as you know, Liz, founded the industry in the UK, back in 79. But our family motto is confer and triumph. And that's also our business motto. So talking, the emotional bit, it's not now, because I know she's not trying to offend me or upset me. She might be wrong, but she's not trying to offend me. So we are really good, having brought up at the kitchen table from the age of sort of tiny tots, that everything is okay to have a conversation about. So we're not afraid to have a conversation, and we are we were, especially as we were growing up, learning how to be human beings. We were cautious for a while about what we said, but now we just say it in a loving way, and it is sometimes difficult because we're all making mistakes all the time, aren't we?
That is a good point. And if may I?
Yes.
And that's how we treat the teams.
Mm.
We give them space to talk. We make sure they feel safe to talk. We are always available to everybody, no matter who they are in the business. And failure is not the end. I think that's such an important thing. People have to feel safe to fail, because if we don't, well, we're not trying, are we?
100%.
And so
100%.
it's so important for people to know they can fail, and all we expect is their best.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you guys brought up two really great points, and that is the trust aspect. Like, you don't have to guess, right? You know they've got your back. And then the other thing I think is knowing they're always going to be there, right? Like, people leave, people make decisions. What family, like, you can't get rid of them. They are family.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of family, Liz?
I've got a older sister who lives here in Austin, like literally 7 minutes from me. We're super, super close. And then I have a brother in North Carolina, and we're a very tight knit family. Yeah.
I always find it absolutely an anathema to us when people go, well, yeah, I don't really talk to my brother, or I don't really talk, or I've fallen out with my parents. I'm thinking, what? How did that happen? How did the parents allow that to happen? Because
right,
that would never have been allowed.
Right. Yeah,
we were very, very lucky. We've been very lucky.
Yeah, same. Because I think, it is very common for people to fall out in families these days. And it used to just be that's not allowed, right? But also sometimes it is to protect people, right? Sometimes it's a toxic relationship and you're like, I gotta go. And you gotta let them do that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious, with office space in town, what's been the idea going forward with all the changes post-pandemic and the hybrid and the remote? What idea is giving you life at office space in town right now?
Well, we've COVID got in the way of our expansion plans. We had life made. We own our buildings, as you know, Liz. Rather than
so smart.
Thank you.
It has to. The operation has to have a relationship with the building, whether that's a turnover lease, management contract, you own them. If it's just a lease, it's difficult. And I think it's been proved a million times. But I'm allowed to say that in this forum. But we got to the point after about 10 years, I think, where we had this nice collection of amazing buildings. They were full, but we realized we needed two business partners, money partners. So the mature buildings, we took a partner that was a listed REIT on the FTSE for long-term income, because by then, we've been at it for 45, 50 years now.
Right.
Proved that it was long-term income, absolutely robust. We all know how robust it is. And then we found a development partner to go and buy buildings, develop buildings, and turn them into serviced offices, with the plan to then sell it into the REIT. So we were done. No, we weren't.
I think a lot of people got a little curveball.
Yeah. So on the back of that, the REIT had to sell. Starwood, big fund, bought them out. We then bought ourselves out of Starwood. So, and then we had the other partner who was our development partner. So if you think about it, you buy a building, derelict, furbish it, increase its value, put income on it, increase its value, plus you've got the income stream. So it's a brilliant model. He unfortunately ran some troubles himself, decided not to invest in London property market. What I say troubles? He decided not to invest in the London property market. So we're back to the drawing board. So, but we had a plan, having bought Starwood out at the end of lockdown. We're now in the process of looking for our next partner.
But good. Maybe they're listening.
Money partner, yes.
Hopefully they're listening.
Yeah. People. We got so much data. it's hard to argue about the fact that when you own your building, it's so robust. It'd be really. I mean, our margins, our gross margins are 50 to 55%. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I wouldn't have thought.
I had a friend who was being like, Liz, get back in it, get back in it, get back in it. And I said, I recently had somebody literally offer me a space in Austin, built out, just wanted me to operate it. And I was like, I am not getting back in until I can buy a building.
There you go.
Excellent.
Or buy part of a building.
Right. Yeah. I was just like, no, not doing that.
Be a co-investor.
We should be.
In a horse.
Oh, I see what you mean. Have a co-investor.
So let's say that somebody appears and is like, love it, great business, I want to invest. Are we moving into other cities? Are we going to go conquer Europe? What are we thinking?
I remember many years ago when Niki had city executive centres that we met another guru. In fact, you know him. Well, you know them, Chris Bishop and Mark Breen.
Mm-hmm. From Aston.
Yeah, previously Argyle. They set up Argyle for Argyle. Yeah. And Chris, it was Chris who said to me, he said, Giles, I like to walk to all my buildings before lunch. In city executive centres, our biggest resource, or Niki's big, which was her, was travelling from Edinburgh to Brighton to Norwich to Cardiff. She's in a car. So the same would happen if we went to other cities. I mean, London's a massive city. There's lots of opportunity. We're focused on Zone 1. There's no reason why we can't have 50 centres in Zone. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of centres there. So there's no reason why we can't do that if we're the right partner.
It's so funny because one of the things I've always told people, so I've watched this industry in the US for 13 years. And one of the things I've seen is when people haven't covered their city and leave, they generally fail.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
And the reason being in the US anyways, it's because they're like, oh, it's a 2-hour flight to Chicago, but they're not putting in the time where they have to pack and where they have to commute and where they have to wait in the airport for 2 hours. And then they, get a delay. And so your 2-hour trip is really taking 9 hours out of your workday. And that's what kills it, is the distance. And I've seen, so in this time, I've seen a couple of people successfully do it. A couple out of the hundreds I've watched do it. So I am a huge fan of until your city is covered, don't leave it. Yeah. And by the way, I had 3 locations in Austin. 2 were like literally across a courtyard. I could visually just look at it. And the other one was probably like a half a mile as the crow flies, but driving was probably 7 minutes. And I loved it. It was great. And I could have put a lot more right there, but I sold.
You got out well.
I did. I'm actually the first woman that I know of to successfully exit coworking.
Congratulations to you.
That's why you're the queen of coworking.
Well, Brad.
Well, I do what I can. So, Office R&D invites you to join Flex World Series 2025, the online conference dedicated to the flex space industry. Discover the latest trends, insights, and strategies driving flex space growth in 2025 and beyond. The event is on Tuesday, April 29th at 11 a.m. EDT. Don't miss your chance to learn from industry leaders, connect with global innovators, and get real, actionable insights that can transform your workspace. Secure your free spot today at flexworld.io or https://ofrnd.com/conference. I am so impressed that you pull off a black tie dinner every night, that you have all of these events, that now you're doing food service, now you're doing turn downs every night. Like, there are so many elements in the hotel industry. Which one's harder?
I think, why didn't someone tell me that before we bought it? Well, we have great staff. I mean, we came and there were lots of good things in place. So we've just brought our bit to it. I think, and hotels been around forever and ever. So be able to own that, I think.
Yes.
But how do you pull it off? Well, we run, would you believe, about 80% occupied throughout the year. I mean, in the summer you can't get in. Lots of glamorous people coming here, and so people. We've only got. I mean, it is, I should say, fairly expensive to come, but we've only got 25 suites and a pub, of course, on the island. So you think you should fill it pretty well every night.
Yeah. On this planet.
Yeah.
We actually had last weekend a couple that flew in from Miami for days for the murder mystery weekend.
I love it.
Yeah.
Although we'd like more, we don't have many American guests.
We do. We want more.
Yeah,
Well, good. We'll get the word out.
Yeah,
Please do.
Well, I mean, I think first of all, this is great because we're letting the whole co-working world know that they need to go to Burgh Island.
Definitely.
Yeah. Can you see the ballroom at all?
I can. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I wasn't going to do video, but now I am.
Yeah.
Although every time, Nikki, you hit the table, the camera shakes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We'll forgive you this time. So I'm curious. You know, a lot of people are saying that the co-working industry is going to go the way of the hotel industry, right? That there's just going to be a few big brands and then everybody else will kind of fade away. And there will be some boutique.
True, Liz.
I don't think so, but I'm curious what you guys think.
Hotels, is it?
Maybe in London or central cities, but outside of the cities, the hotel market is lots of independents.
I would just say, lots of brands.
And lots of big ones.
And I think the thing about co-working, it's in London particularly, I mean, and actually if you go to Northampton or any other town or Austin, it's about where you want to be. So you would do your, if you're going to go and find an office in Austin, you wouldn't just go to, WeWork, would you? You'd look around, find one of yours, do a bit of shopping and see what you prefer. So we're not massive in terms of serviced offices, but we remain constantly at 90% occupied there or thereabouts. Because the brokers love us, because our staff talk about us and love us, and because our clients talk about us. I mean, a lot of our new clients in our serviced offices come word of mouth from our I say guests now. Now I'm a hotelier. I say
I haven't converted to yeah. There are so many niches in every industry. I'm just trying to think of something similar. So I kind of disagree, but we are new to being in hospitality. So is it predominantly big? I'm guessing if you count up all the beds, probably the big operators have the majority of the beds.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it on locations, possibly not.
So I'm curious because you just said that you got into hospitality. I would say, you're definitely in real estate because you own your buildings, but office space in town is hospitality, 100%.
Yes, it is.
It is, definitely.
It's interesting thought. If we look at hotels, I'm going to move on to the business model.
Yeah.
So the difference between hotel, serviced office, both are lots of suites, central services, broadband, and catering. We have it in our offices, as you know, as well, and bedrooms in our offices as well. But if you look at the business model, with serviced offices, client comes in, you sign them up for a year, and then they probably renew, and our average stays at 40 months at the moment.
40, yes, but still 40 months.
About 40 months. You sign up to come here, 2 nights.
Right.
If you look at which is the more robust income stream, it's serviced offices.
Yes.
And I've been making it for about 14 years.
Well, mate.
Serviced office income, and they're getting there again. And the great thing about COVID, it helped us in terms of serviced offices in the industry, is we bounced back really, really quickly, didn't we? In terms of people coming back, and they wanted the flexibility. In fact, I would argue that it's pushed the fact that people now have serviced offices as a operational business, pharmacy, whatever, they all have some
Element
sensible
of it.
flex space in their portfolio. So I just put it out there because the valuers haven't quite understood yet that
Mm-hmm.
is more valuable than hotel.
And we run at a higher occupancy
And we run a higher
in
occupancy.
co-working service offices, flex space than hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the average occupancy in hotels is actually quite low relative. I mean,
Yes, we're running rich because it's an iconic building. But
Yeah.
yes, they run nowhere. I don't think anywhere near to what service offices run.
no. Sorry.
Amazing. No, this is fascinating.
Yeah. So that would mean
Fascinating.
that the yield on serviced offices should be much, much better than the yield on hotels, because of course
Mhm.
an income stream, whether it's on a jumper shop or a bike shop or a hotel or a serviced office, it's about the robustness of that income, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I compartmentalize co-working into something that's happened in the last like 12 years, right? It's this thing where there's this community element. And what's interesting to me is you guys have been in this industry a really long time, and the names have ebbed and flowed, right? It was a business center, and then it was, whatever. The names keep changing. Just so you know, I'm doubling down on co-working, and as long as I'm around,
Sorry,
I'm going with that term.
Very better.
But the reason I wanted to bring this up with both of you guys is because you've seen all these ebbs and flows, and I think what's different, and the reason why we're going to get co-working to stick for this one portion of the industry is because there is somebody championing it, right? I am going to correct people until the day I die that this is what it is. And there isn't an advocate for business centers like that. There isn't, and that's why all the associations constantly, change their names every 10 years to whatever is popular at the moment. And the reason I really dislike flex office, it's bad for the industry because it's confusing and it's a horrible search term.
Just be office space. The generic term, we should be, I guess, office space. And below that is the community space. Is that the co-working?
I am going away from the term office because it has for a lot of people, it has a negative connotation.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And what I personally am going to go work on fixing is that co-working isn't the open space with a pool table and beer on tap.
Uh-huh.
It's actually a space that has open space and office space.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. We're on board with that.
We're on board. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I love that.
Co-work.
Yeah.
Got it now.
Well, and I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was me that a couple of years ago was like, wait a minute, we're not in the real estate industry. We're in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And I went and called up CEOs and was like, I am looking at your LinkedIn and it says real estate and you need to change that. And they did.
Very good. I better check my bios.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, you better check because we don't want that to be wrong.
need you and your championing of the industry, Liz. We do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's, I think once I figured out that if I could help promote spaces where people found community and belonging, that we could help change the loneliness epidemic, I was like, oh, this is my thing. Like, I finally found it. It took a while, but I finally found it, and this is it. I'm going to just do it.
What did you do before?
Before my co-working world, I worked for Dell in the heyday of Dell. And I started out on the phones. If you called 1-800-BUY-DELL, I was one of the people that being like, thank you for calling Dell. This is Liz. How can I help you? And thank you. And I quickly worked my way up. And I became an inside sales manager, and I had this massive quota of like 50 million a quarter. And I was just working like crazy. And I looked around and I was like, wow, those account executives out in the field, they're making so much money. They get to work out of their homes. And what am I doing? And so I went to the Dell management and I was like, I need to move to the field. And they said, yeah, when people do that, they typically don't succeed. So we're not really into that. Like, we like to just hire our account executives in the field. And I'm like, okay, but I still want to do it. And they're like, we'd rather you stay here and just make us money here. And I was like, no, I want to go. And they said, well, if you go, we're going to demote you. And I said, great, demote me. So they demoted me and I moved to the field. and I took over an account that was doing $3 million a year. And when I left, they were doing $20 million a year at 20 points of margin. And I funded the entire acquisition of the telco vertical for Dell.
Really?
Wow. Wow.
Good for you.
So I was selling stuff, but I was trying to work out of Starbucks before they really had good internet. And I was having meetings in my car. And I was like, there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable. And I went to a business center in Atlanta, Georgia on Peachtree. And I walked in and it had like dark wood walls and literally had a person wearing like white gloves, shining your shoes. And it was very archaic, felt very Civil War. And I was like, this place is super messed up, but like, I get it. Like, I get why you need a place to have your meetings. And then right after that, I went to a W Hotel, back when the W Hotel was a new fancy thing. And I was sitting in the W Hotel lobby watching people. And I was like, wow, we need to like marry the business center and a W Hotel and make it available for business people. And that's when, I'm going to really date myself here because this was when I first moved to Atlanta. So it was 1999 when I started thinking about it. And I did it in 2010.
Oh, amazing. You might want to edit this next bit, but aren't we lucky that Starbucks and Pret haven't worked out what they've got?
Yes. Didn't we?
We spoke to someone that had to go and talk to them and go, guys, you're a business.
I talked to Starbucks.
You're a co-working.
You're a co-working.
You're a co-working. Yeah. Get a bigger space, have some meeting room. Luckily, they never did.
Always blown my mind. Always blown my mind. Because, and what's interesting is now they actually, work against it. They make it cold, so you'll leave.
Yeah.
They make the chairs uncomfortable, so you won't stay.
I need the chair.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if you guys saw, there was recently an article in The Guardian where it was a woman who was going to co-working spaces and basically lecturing people that they needed to going to coffee spaces and then lecturing people that they weren't behaving better. But she said she wasn't going to co-working spaces because they contained, and I quote, awful people.
She's right, Sue.
They were definitely awful people.
No, she was at the coffee shop saying that co-working spaces had awful people and the co-working spaces were too expensive. And I'm like, if you take what you're spending at the coffee shop and add it up, you can afford a co-working membership, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. The madness of it.
I know. Okay, so in building, so how long has office space in town been around?
2009. So was that 16 years? But City Executive Centres before that.
Right.
That Mother's first brand was called OTSS, Office Telecommunication and Secretarial Services.
Oh, wow.
1979, yeah.
Wow, amazing. So in that big span, like, what has been the hardest thing for you guys to overcome?
Money.
Finding investors?
Well, yes, I think so. But finding a long-term investment partner has been the biggest challenge. Not finding investors, but finding a long-term investor. The first people interested were 5-year horizons. It was the funds, and real estate is a long-term hold. And I know we're not in real estate, but an element, the purchase is real estate. So it's melding the outlook of the long-term hold with the short-term money, and get, as Giles said, it's two investors or it's a long-term hold who's a bit less risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you went all the way back, of course, you spoke to my mother, who's what she would say, explaining what we were.
Yeah.
Or had no others.
Yeah.
So that was probably the first thing.
And that was up till not that long ago. Even at City Exec, we were explaining to commercial agents, even when we opened Houston.
Yeah.
In 2009, we were still having to explain to the agents what serviced offices were. And they didn't want to put their clients, introduce them.
Yeah.
In terms of brokers or online agents, there really was just Richard Smith and Rob Hamilton of Instant. There was nobody else. And now, obviously, the outlook is very different, but that's a very small window of 15 years. Excuse me.
What else was difficult? We've been lucky, actually, Liz, perhaps. I mean, and although finding the money has been difficult, we've managed to change our investors. We've gone along. As they've had a 5-year horizon, we found another 5-year horizon, another 5 years.
Right.
So we have been very lucky. But at the same time, if we'd found that long-term income early,
Right.
we'd be at £1 billion, £2 billion pound business.
Yeah. I think that's in general what holds back this industry, because people still really don't understand it. And whereas you guys are profitable and have your act together, you're the exception, not the rule, sadly.
That's very sweet of you. Although in the UK, we have now set up a workplace intelligence network to collect data. So if anybody in the UK is listening and wants to get involved, get in touch. Because collecting the data for the industry is the first step to recognize, getting it understood. And for everybody, it'll bring finance, borrowing costs. It's not just about
100%.
It's also about being able to compare your margins, all of it. So please do get in touch. And in the US, I'm sure you must have something similar.
Well, no, we don't. I think that's the thing is in the US, so CoStar really owns the data, right? And in the co-working industry, no one has really come up that everybody can trust to share their data with. And so I think, that's something definitely I've worked on, but I'm trying to work on it with various partners, and it's like a side gig. Yeah. It's on my main gig.
Well, what Niki's done is, rather than have an external, because you did start trying to find someone external.
Yeah, I remember.
Niki's got the operators. So you have to be open and honest and share honestly and accurately.
But it's
not going out, it's all operators. So it's not going outside the industry. And you're all part of that group. And if any money ever came out of it, which probably it will, then they will all benefit from it.
Yeah. So it's a membership organizer. Everybody is equal, and it's only operators.
I love it. Brilliant. I'm glad that you solved that. Okay, so we've had a big hospitality focus in this conversation, and I'm curious because I get to go to London every year. I want to know, what is the most memorable hospitality experience you've ever had in London?
Oh, an interesting one. Well, of course, some of it comes. So we've been lucky enough to win some awards. So that makes it extra special if you're in awards and you get to family of business colleagues.
I think she means, what's the best hospitality experience you've ever had?
Yeah, like in a restaurant or a...
probably the single point, I'm a member of the In-N-Out Club, Naval and Military in St James Square, where my home in London. And I remember having lunch in the coffee room upstairs, and we were chatting about what wine we were going to have, and we settled it, and then the waiter came over with the bottle of wine.
I love that.
We hadn't even noticed he was around. So that is the other place I really think is exceptional service is Mosselman's. Anton Mosselman, his son, obviously, Mark and Philip, who run it now. And you just don't see the staff. And that is fantastic. And there was a funny moment where they brought a stool to my girlfriend, and we wondered what the stool was for. But of course, it was for the handbag.
Yeah, she must have had a good one.
Who knew?
But my favorite place currently in London, for whatever reason, I just love the food and I love the ambiance. It's always high, really busy and heaving and great feel about it. Hype is Scott's in Mount Street. Just everything about it is good, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Your story reminded me of, I was at a dinner in New York at a Michelin star restaurant, and it was a hosted dinner for Yardi, and I was, I'm sober, so I wasn't drinking, and so I was just drinking sparkling water, and I I had seen the waiters kind of talking to each other and kind of looking at me. And I was like, not weird. And then they came back 30 minutes later with this beautiful bottle of wine called French Bloom, by the way. You should get it for your non-alcoholic people. It is a woman from the Tattinger family. And it is this, and they said, oh, we saw you, you weren't drinking. So we went and acquired this bottle of non-alcoholic wine. Would you like to try it? And it was like everything I'd tasted before that was trash. This is beautiful. And now I buy it by the case.
Oh, gee.
Oh, that's really.
I've written it down.
I love it. I love it. Get it for your guests. Okay, Niki, what about you?
Well, I don't go out a lot.
Rubbish.
But I'm going to give Burgh Island, because in all the years we've been coming here since we bought it, and I've come as a guest, not now, obviously now we're actually in it, but previously, from the minute you park your car and the drivers pick you up and bring you across the causeway, and you're greeted by Vlad, who's been here since he was 16 years of age, and you'll give a glass of champagne and you sit down, and because it is, it's small, the ambience is so lovely, it's tranquil, the guests all talk, so they all sit together. And so for me, I've got to say it's here at Burgh. I
love that. The
pitch, it just, I don't do the whole London thing. I don't, I'm not foodie. I don't drink a huge amount. I'm a country girl. And so for me, this is the best experience. This is what I will measure everything else from.
I love that. Fantastic. Okay. Last question for you two. What are you most excited about for the future?
Wow. Well, finding the next amount of money so we can buy some more buildings.
Yes. Hopefully we can help with that.
Outside saying is number one.
Yeah.
For me, I'll let Niki answer. For me, we also have we have a drink called a Gunner. And a Gunner is a non-alcoholic. You love it. Non-alcoholic.
Stop it.
Been around forever. It's gingers, bitters, lime, really refreshing. It was first. It's really just poured. It has been over 100 years. Poured by bar staff, by the bartender. But I drank a lot of it. Loved it. Everyone I knew, golf, tennis, sailing, loved it. So I put it in a tin. We've put it in a tin. So
now you're in the beverage business. Wow.
Oh yeah, everyone who takes it loved it. The brand is amazing. I think it's Red Bull, it's Coca-Cola. But better.
US distributor, Liz.
You should.
Yeah. Well, are you ready for this? My dad had a company called Doc Beverages. He did beverage distribution in Vermont, and he was the first guy to distribute Red Bull in the US.
No. Well, we're the next Red Bull in that. So that's it. We do have a sinner. So that's the original one we call the Saint. And we have a Saint Night. We do have a Sinner as well, which the first one has a shot and a half of rum in it. So it's a bit like a dark and stormy.
Well, we need to have these at Juicy. Is all I can.
You do.
Yeah, we're gonna have these at Juicy for sure. For sure, I love it.
Definitely.
What's right? We also have a gin.
What?
Burgh Island gin, Burgh Island vodka.
And in terms of what are you most looking forward to?
Well, getting the new money to buy the
getting
buildings.
the new money. I think it goes without saying is taking Burgh the next step. We're so close, just getting that over the line and getting to the point where we can really focus on the staff journey and the staff, because that's the bit that gives us the joy. The other bit is lovely and wonderful, but the joy bit comes from seeing everybody happy and being on their journey. I think the other thing is we've got the cleaning company in OSiT, and we're just setting up the facilities management side. So we're taking it all in-house now, and we're setting that department up.
And we're going to provide that for other...
And we're going to provide that to other operators.
Yeah.
Nice.
In London.
So we clean about 50 buildings in London. So we set up... we couldn't find decent cleaning, and all your operators will get and go, you are so right. So a mate of mine who I'd been in business previously said, what should we do? I've got cleaning. He said, fine, let's do that. That was 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're now cleaning about 50 buildings in London.
Yeah.
And we're doing quite a lot of other operators because it's quite a special.
Now I'm hitting you up for sponsorship. I love this.
Good point.
Good point.
Yes, exactly. You should be promoting this at Juicy, my friends.
Good.
I'm writing it down.
I love it. I am too. Okay. I just want you guys to know that I think you two are such a treasure to our industry. And I love that you have actually become your moguls. I don't know if you realize this, but you're moguls. If you have like over, I think 5 to 7 streams of income, you become a mogul. You're moguls.
Oh.
And you are. You have an office business, you have a hotel business, you have a beverage business, you have a cleaning business. And those are the only ones I know of. I know there's more.
There is.
Yeah. So moguls, you're moguls. We have so much to learn from you. And I just absolutely am thrilled that I get to call you guys my friends. And I cannot wait to see you this fall.
Excellent. Nor can we.
Liz, you're a treasure as well.
Stop it. Thank you for tuning into the Juicy Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and follow us for more juicy content. You can stay connected with us on social media by following us at Juicy Global. We're looking forward to having you join us next time for more insightful discussions. Until then, keep exploring the co-working world with the Juicy Podcast. Ciao.